Alright, good, whatever time you're watching this at. My hair's wet because I just got out of the shower, but I decided we're gonna start working on the wastegate system, which is what this video is titled. I guess I haven't explained any of that yet. What we have is a very cool system. Now that we have the motor broken in, we have everything finally. Oops, hopefully that didn't mar my sub. What we have here is a custom built up pipe. Obviously, this is not a branded up pipe. This is an up pipe. If you guys have been following me for a minute, I had that RB25 big turbo swapped S14. And if you remember, I had the intercooler piping all done in stainless pie cuts. And the guy who did all the stainless pie cuts, he made this up pipe for his STI, but he ended up going with a different up pipe and header configuration from one company. Not because this up pipe didn't work, it was because honestly the up pipe and the headers that he bought were just like gorgeous. Like, fabricator that made them just does like beautiful work, and which is why he switched to that stuff, because he really likes that kind of stuff. So this was no longer useful to him. It never leaked or anything. He made this, and we know his stuff is good. So that's why. So I bought this up pipe off of him, and it's for a 44 millimeter tile wastegate, which obviously we have a 44 millimeter wastegate on there. It is not tile branded. We do have a 44 millimeter wastegate on there. And oh, I also forgot something. I forgot a bag. Okay, in this bag. Check that out. We have the screamer pipe for the wastegate. Should fit on there just beautifully. I don't know what configuration this is gonna have to go in for this to fit correctly, but we're gonna get this going. And the reason that we're doing this is, one, 44 millimeter external wastegate sounds nuts. Two, I can up the boost. We have a 13-pound spring in there, which is good for about 26 PSI. You can double whatever spring pressure you have in a wastegate. And that's how much boost you can make with the spring pressure that you have in a wastegate. So 13 pounds, double that. 26 pounds is how much boost pressure you can make on this wastegate, unless you have boost creep. With a 13-pound spring, we can make 26 PSI. I'm still stock block though. Still open deck stock block. Just stage 1 forged manly pistons, rods, race bearings, built stainless heads, head studs, it's all forged internals, all ready to go. So we're gonna shoot for 22 to 23 PSI. My tuner that is going to be tuning this told me 22, 23 PSI is where I wanna be and what's gonna be perfectly safe, because I have the VF48 STI turbo that has fully Garrett billet internals, and it's ported and polished as well. So that turbo is good for that kind of boost. The engine's good for that kind of boost. This is gonna sound crazy. The car's only on 15 PSI right now, so we're upping the boost like 7 or 8 PSI. It's gonna rip. Okay, I'm sorry, I was talking really fast there. But we're gonna get going on this. The reason I've waited to make this video is because I was waiting for one more part, which is the internal wastegates. Obviously, it's a spring that's bolted to the top of the turbo with a rod, and the spring pushes on the rod, opening the flap on the back of the turbo to release the exhaust gases through the wastegate, down through the exhaust. And when you have an external wastegate, you can't have that. It has to be shut. So you have two options. You can either pull the turbo off and weld the flap that opens and shuts the wastegate shut, which is kind of a pain. Or two, I don't have the part with me, but two, the part's at another house that I have to go grab because it got delivered there. But two, you can get just a rod with no spring, no wastegate on it, that bolts to the turbo, and then it's a straight rod that goes to the top of that flap that's on the top of the backside of the turbo, and then that rod just holds it shut because there's no spring on it. So that's the more expensive, because it's like a $45, $50 part to do that. But also, it doesn't hinder you if you ever want to reverse back to an internal wastegate. You still can. You just take the rod off, take the wastegate setup off, and throw everything back on. So that's also a benefit. But yeah, you get the gist of it. Now, the way that a turbo system works, if you don't know, you have headers underneath the motor, then you have an up pipe. That's what's an up pipe. Headers bolt here. Pipe goes up to the turbo, which bolts on the top, and then from the turbo, the down pipe. The down pipe goes to the rest of the exhaust. And that's that little rod with the flange I was telling you about. That bolts right here. This is just gonna be a straight rod, and inside there's a spring, and that's what actuates the rod open and close to open the flap and let the gases out. So or let the vacuum pressure out, I guess. But this is what gets replaced. It's just a straight piece with no spring inside there. So yeah, but anyways, we have to take the intercooler off, we have to take the turbo off, we have to take the up pipe off. This is gonna be a whole freaking process. So let's get to it. I have managed to get the turbo pretty much out of the car without taking the car off the ground. So let's see if I can get this bad boy out of here. Yeah? All right. Okay, we're totally off. There we go. We are off the up pipe. Getting off the turbo inlet. All right, we're off the turbo inlet. On the boost controller vacuum lines. We're all the way out. We're just getting held up on the oil feed line because I couldn't get it from the bottom. So I'm bending it quite a bit. I don't like that. It's a hard line that you really don't want to break. My oil drain line from the turbo is preventing me from twisting this anymore, so it'll come out like this instead. Oh, there goes my downpipe gasket. And that, my friends, is a turbo. It's a nice one, is that it's a nice boy. Shaft play. Suckers mint. Yeah, that's what Garrett billet internals will do for you. All right, so now the turbo out, it looks like the up pipe bolts consist of a few bolts on a bracket, like we have one there. We got that bracket goes to right there. We have the top three off for the turbo. And then I'm sure underneath to the headers, it's a 2-bolt flange, just like this one is. 2-bolt flange at the headers. And then I don't know if we need to come out through the bottom. We'll probably have to come out through the top because the subframe I have is still the stock Forester subframe and it's notched to fit the turbo up pipe. So we'll probably have to come out through the top, which means we'll have to mess with the downpipe again. But hey, we got the turbo out without taking the car off the ground. I do have a jack underneath it to kind of get the exhaust off the ground so I can shimmy it, but we got it out without like getting underneath the car. All right, we got them off, but holy crap, those suck to do. I don't think those were taken off when the motor got put in or put together. Like those stripped out so bad, I had to hammer bits on there. But we got them off. Now we got to get underneath the car. Okay. Underneath here, it looks like we got to take off this heat shield, and we'll have the 2 bolts probably right underneath this heat shield. It looks like it's going to be a bunch of 12 millimeters. All right, we got the heat shield down, and I was right. That's the 2-bolt flange right there for the up pipe. I don't know if I want to keep the heat shield on after we do this. I mean, yeah, why not? Heat shield probably helps with the oil filter and stuff. So we're just going to let it hang here while we finish this. Or, yeah, we'll just let it hang here. We can get around it pretty easy. It's just getting hung on the O2 sensor on the headers. Anyways, that's where we're going to finish this episode. I know we're not doing the whole install in this episode. I'm really sorry about that. I already have a decent amount of footage. We already have the turbo out and the new up pipe and all that stuff ready to go. Getting the turbo out was huge. And we have some of the bolts on the up pipe to get out, already out. And I promised you guys I'd have a video up this week about this. So it's Thursday now, so I got to still edit and post this. So that's why we're going to end it here. I go on vacation next week, so I'm really going to try my hardest to get everything put together. Hopefully before I leave, hopefully I'll have another video about this before I leave on vacation. But Anyways, there's your video that I promised you this week. Again, sorry for the lack of videos. I just haven't had a lot of stuff. Go look at my TikTok. We got some gossip going on with the Audi with some companies, some aero company on eBay. It's absolutely hilarious. We'll have an Audi video coming soon, depending if I get parts in time before I leave or not. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Peace out, guys.